One family, two farms destroyed in fires. Welcome to today's episode of Things I Bet You Didn't Know About Ballerina Farm. When we hear the name Ballerina Farm, we all think of this. Hannah in this kitchen with this stove in the background. This beautiful lush valley with mountains behind. But this location is Hannah's second farm. When they first returned to Utah after becoming millionaires working for Hannah's father-in-law, Hannah and her family bought a farm that didn't have a residence. If you scroll way back in Instagram, you can find these posts where they're working the farm by day and living somewhere else by night. Then in 2018, the Polk Creek wildfire destroyed their farm. In interviews, they said that they weren't that upset about it because it had been more difficult than they thought it would be to put up infrastructure, build a home. So Hannah says they felt like God sent the fire. Not long after, they found the ranch that we now know as Ballerina Farm. I'm sure that most of you already know that story. But I bet you didn't know that I'm going to put this part of the video under the category of weird family coincidences. Meet Hannah's brother Seth Wright, his wife Jenna, and other kids. They used to be somewhat significant social influencers themselves with far more than 21,000 until Jenna started getting backlash online for hateful posts and comments, which I don't even feel like touching in this video. The couple had turned a large warehouse into a wedding venue/residence. It was luxurious and absolutely breathtaking. It featured a farmy chic wedding venue on the ground level with the farmy chic residence up above, which, although absolutely breathtaking, had a lot of drawbacks. Living in a mixed-use commercial/residential type of setting with kids, especially when you're upstairs and there's a big parking lot all around your home, can be challenging when you have young kids who want to run around in the backyard. So Hannah's brother and his wife decided to buy their own farm property and live behind this farmy industrial chic for a truly spectacular English countryside type of mansion. Now, I've personally seen the charred remains of this home in real life, and let me just tell you that it is a premium property. Absolutely breathtaking surrounding in one of the most sought-after areas of Utah. The Wrights had done a lot of the work themselves, including splitting the raw stone that you saw on the exterior there. And one night, after being at the construction site with their family, they went home, were getting the kids tucked in bed, and got a phone call that the site was on fire. Unfortunately, the home would burn entirely to the ground. Seth would describe going to the site after the fire was put out a couple days later and walking through puddles of what had been glass that had melted out of the window frames. They said in multiple articles that they got almost no insurance money from this fire because they had done so much of the work themselves and provided so many of the materials at their own personal expense. Insurance did not give them the money to rebuild this home, according to their public statement. You might be asking yourself, what's a rich Utah Mormon family who's just had their giant custom mansion on the side of a lake and burned to the ground supposed to do, despite the fact that they still had plenty of money and a beautiful home to go back to? They set up a GoFundMe, of course. Seth and Jenna, though, didn't quite pull on people's heartstrings the way that Ballerina Farm does. I think in general that a lot of people have a hard time helping people rebuild a dream home when they already have a really nice other home. So they only got a tiny fraction of money that they were asking for. And this right here, folks, is where my knowledge on the subject stops, because my sources aren't friends with Seth and Jenna. And they've kind of disappeared from social media. So I don't actually know where they've been or what they've been up to. The last time I was in Utah, the house was just a show. And of course, we saw Seth in Hawaii and we saw him at Chad Wright's funeral. But their whereabouts are unknown, at least to me. So if anybody is friends with Seth and Jenna Wright and can update the girl, then drop me a DM. 2 fires for one family, by the way. That's a lot.